What do you think of Edward Snowden?
I think he's a traitor. I think he has committed crimes, in effect, by violating agreements given the position he had. He was a contractor employee, but he obviously had been granted top secret clearance. And I think it's one of the worst occasions in my memory of somebody with access to classified information doing enormous damage to the national security interests of the United States.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney there on Fox News Sunday calling NSA leaker Edward Snowden a traitor for his actions. Snowden went public again this week, reacting to Cheney's comments and criticizing the media coverage. Part of what he said: unfortunately, the mainstream media now seems far more interested in what I said when I was 17 or what my girlfriend looks like, rather than, say, the largest program of suspicionless surveillance in human history. Judy, what do you think of his remarks?
Well, Edward Snowden, welcome to celebrityhood, for better or ill. Look, he has become a genuine folk hero to a lot of people under 30. If you look at the 17-point drop in the president's popularity among that group, Edward Snowden is responsible for that, and I'm sorry, but he's not going to like a lot of what's written about him.
Yeah, and he thought there was what, going to be universal adulation in the media?
Right. I think Snowden, as a naive narcissist, is the emerging narrative following up. I think he's on his way to being Philip Agee, who was the notorious CIA agent who ratted on the agency and got Americans killed in the process, and ended up living out his life in Cuba, where he died under Castro.
Kirsten, for you, the former vice president's comments got this reaction from Snowden. He said, being called a traitor by Dick Cheney is the highest honor you can give an American. You took that on this week.
Well, I think his complaint is completely valid, is that people are focusing on things that, you know, whether he was a high school dropout or his girlfriend, or these things that really have nothing to do with the issue in an attempt to smear him. And even this narcissistic thing, you know, it's like, oh, I guess he should have gone into TV or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I mean, seriously, you know, like, we work in the most narcissistic industry in history, you know, sitting around pointing fingers at this guy who basically gave up everything, you know, and had to flee the country because he, you know, thought that it was so important to expose this information, which has not caused any damage to the United States. And that's the other thing that we keep hearing about, all this alleged damage that's been done, and a lot of good has already been done.
What about the point?
But Kirsten, you know...
Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Sorry, John. I was just going to say, Kirsten, he signed up to spy, though. That's the difference, is that Snowden signed up to spy. Nothing changed.
What do you mean
what
signed
changed
up to spy?
is his attitude. He signed up to work for the NSA and to do a job that he knew exactly what he was going to do. Nothing changed. What changed is his comfort level with spying.
That's
and I think that doesn't mean that he's a blower of whistle.
That's not remotely what happened. Just because you're working in the NSA does not mean that you have signed up to what the administration was doing in terms of surveillance. I mean, he wasn't, you know, he's a whistleblower.
But none of that surveillance changed. No, he's not a blower of whistle, he's a blower of his integrity.
No,
and what he did was he decided that he no longer was comfortable with spying, and so he went out.
Well, I think the media has got a, on the one hand, but on the other hand, attitude about this. On the one hand, they're happy to have the information because they like to find out things that are secret. On the other hand, they found that agents of the federal government have been tapping phones, looking at emails and this sort of thing, and revealing secrets. So I think they have a dual personality response to this.
Bob Schieffer on CBS News said he admires people who take stands against the government, but he added this. He said, I don't remember Martin Luther King Jr. or Rosa Parks running off and hiding in China.
Right, right. I mean, whistleblowing as a concept is embedded in liberal media thinking and heroism and idolatry and so on. And Snowden challenges that because the portrait of him as somebody who's giving secrets to the Chinese and as Schieffer said, running from the country to do that. And meanwhile, the larger context, McClatchy had a story about the insider threat program run by the Obama administration. And that is a sort of further scaring of people that something really ominous is happening here beyond Snowden.
I just have to say that Schieffer analogy is the worst analogy in the history of the world, because MLK and Rosa Parks did not have the U.S. government chasing them for giving away secrets. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Well, they weren't wiretapping Dr. King.
No, the government was harassing them. But I mean, the point is, he did something against the U.S. government and had to flee. It's a completely different situation.
But he did sign a contract, and he violated that contract because of his conscience.
Right, but that's what people do.
Because of his conscience.
That's what.
But he has something nobody else has. He has information, and he has a platform.
Yeah.
AG didn't have that.
This is why Rick is right about this. I think 3 months into the job, he's leaking stuff. He went there for that.
He wasn't
Well,
3 months into the job. He'd been working there for 8 years.
During the break.